as we'll explain, my name is Shyla Vara. I am the Safety Council Program Administrator with the Bureau of Workers' Comp. I, in coordination with Michelle Francisco, who is my supervisor, help manage BWC's statewide Safety Council program. So today we're just going to cover some updates for the new fiscal year, which started July 1st of this year. But before we begin, I just wanted to share some of my favorite safety quotes with you all, two of which you'll see are by the same individual, Jerry Smith. Obviously, the first one, I'd say all of these stand very true to what is being stated. However, the first one, safety doesn't happen by accident. Well, that's absolutely true, and it has a lot to do with why you all are in this room today. Accident prevention is key. That's definitely probably my top favorite. The next one by Jerry Smith, if you don't think it's safe, it probably isn't. That as well is true. Now, who does that also sound like? I'm sure we've all heard that a time or two. There's two people you've probably heard that before. Can anyone guess? Absolutely, mom and dad. I can't count how many times I've heard that growing up. So that definitely holds true. If you got to think about how safe it is, you probably should come up with another plan. And then that last one, if you can see that, it's written, that's a quote by Jackie Stewart. It takes leadership to improve safety. Again, that is extremely true. In my previous position as an employer service specialist for about 8 years, I consulted with a lot of employers on BWC programs, and that is almost identical to something I would say when consulting with an employer across the table. It starts at the top. If you don't have that leadership built in at the top, you don't build in that culture, it's not going to trickle down to the remaining staff, and that is key. So enough of that. I just thought I'd share that with you all. So topics for discussion today, we're going to discuss the rebate changes for the new program year. We're also going to touch on external training credits, what qualifies, what does not qualify. Then we're going to talk about some best practice for you as a member. And then we will also talk about the FY23 rebate issuance, which is the next step to follow. And after which I'm going to share our new Safety Council promotional video to promote safety and awareness. Okay, so hopefully, and if I know these ladies in the Safety Council, this probably has already been communicated to you all, but I am here today to officially announce that the premium will increase from 2 to 3%. Forgive me. If you've been a council member, I'd say for at least 3 years or more, you all are aware that the rebate used to be 2 to 4%. And with COVID and some changes, we did drop that down to only a 2% attendance rebate. So hopefully that is meeting somewhere in the middle, and that puts a smile on a lot of our employers' faces as far as that rebate increase. Now with that, we also received a recommendation, and we did take that and apply it. I don't know that you can call it a recommendation, to be quite honest, from our actuarial department, which was that we need to have a maximum rebate cap. So effective this year, we have implemented a $5,000 maximum rebate cap. Now, the last time we paid a Safety Council rebate was in the 2019 year, and then we'll be paying the 2023, obviously due to COVID and the suspension of the program. This cap is going to affect some employers, but we've done the historical research and we've looked at the historical data, and we believe less than 10% of our employers will be affected. This more than likely will affect your larger employers, such as your public entities and larger corporations. But either way, we still, we're confident, and we feel like it's a worthwhile return on investment for you as members attending 10 meetings and actively participating in the Safety Council program. Now, what's not changing? The eligibility requirements still remains the same. You must enroll into the Safety Council program with the Safety Council by July 31st, 2023. I assume all of you are in here. I know there's one that's re-enrolling again. Good for you. Happy to have you back. And then you also must attend 10 meetings at your Safety Council. There's an option to kind of switch that out with some other options for training, and we'll cover that shortly. But essentially, those are staying the same. Also remaining the same is the fact that self-insured employers, alternate employer organizations, or professional employer organizations, what we call AEOs, PEOs, anyone who's associated with either of those companies, meaning you're in a lease agreement, or anyone who applies after the July 31st deadline date, those individuals obviously will remain ineligible for the rebate. Okay, now this is probably where I want to spend the bulk of my time. This might be where I get a lot of questions, but hopefully you've seen this, and if not, hopefully this will be something that will be shared once we get this out to all the sponsors. But in December of last year, we created an external training guide for sponsors to use internally. Therefore, when you as members are going and you're taking training, you're bringing those certificates back to the sponsors, they need to be able to understand what qualifies and what does not qualify. Because at that point, that can save a lot of time and effort, rather it getting submitted and then denied, and they can have that conversation with you up front. Now, based on some feedback, forgive me, that I received and Michelle received, we said, okay, well, not even just Michelle and I received from the sponsors, from some of our safety staff in the field, and also our employer service specialists who are assigned to your account as your assigned representative. Employers needed something. Makes total sense, right? If you're planning your year out and you want to make sure you do all that you can to get that rebate, you definitely need a guide. So we created an employer guide, and that's one that we provided to the sponsors so that they could provide to you or share on the Safety Council website. Now, I'll tell you, we do have updated guides coming out. We'll be distributing those out to the sponsors early next week, and then we will distribute the employer one out probably shortly after that. But based on feedback we've received, we believe this is going to be a little more user-friendly for you all. It'll really jump out at you what qualifies, what doesn't qualify, and take out the guesswork. Earn up to 2 meeting credits. So the rule is, by the end of each year, June 30th, you need to have a total of 10 meeting credits. Well, you can supplement 2 of those meeting credits by external training. So what does that mean? You can either attend all 10 meetings at the Safety Council monthly meetings, you can attend 9 and 1 external training, or you can attend 8 in person and 2 external training credits. Now, the main question is what qualifies? Obviously, BWC does have training, and we have a total of 4 different training type classes. Not all 4 qualify. So if you take notes of anything today, please note what does and what does not qualify for external training. BWC in-person classes qualify for an external training credit. BWC virtual training classes qualify for external training credit. Unfortunately, our webinars and our online classes will not qualify. So when you are registering, and once we get that guide sent out, we have links directly to our Learning Center where you can register for classes. When you're reading the class title, just a tip for you, if it just gives you the class title, no other information, that's an in-person class. If it gives you the class title and it's followed by VTC, in parentheses, virtual training class, those are also going to qualify. I can't tell you how many certificates I personally denied last year for the FY23 year because they're online or they were webinars. Won't qualify. Now, not only can you take BWC training, you can also take training through an external source. That could be through a TPA, another training firm, attending a seminar, a safety training seminar, such as Ohio Safety Congress, and you can still obtain that. The main thing to remember, if it's not BWC training, it must be attended in person, okay? Now with that, another question that comes up a lot behind that is in-house training. We are not going to give you external training credit for training that occurs in the employer's own workplace. The reason being is a lot of that training that you're doing in-house is mandated by law, federal, state law, depending on your industry of pursuit. A lot of that is already required, and therefore we're not going to extend a safety council credit for that. We're only extending external training credit for circumstances which most clearly mimic the safety council experience, right? The opportunity to come together, network, and share experiences with other employers. So please, I think that's why I said we'd spend the bulk of the time here, because it's really key. Now, what's also key? When you take that training, you must get an official training certificate, a copy of that certificate. This is another one I denied quite a bit throughout the year, and I want you all to be successful and avoid this. We will not take a transcript printout. We won't take a knowledge assessment test score printout. We won't take an email reservation confirmation. We will only accept the official certificate. So as soon as you get those, again too, don't hold on to those. Get those to the council immediately so that they can upload that to the portal, and Michelle and I open each and every one and we review it in detail. Based on the tips I gave you, it's really easy to discern, does this qualify, does it not, especially if it's BWC training. External training, some of that requires a little more research. So if it's not really clear on the certificate, meaning a lot of training center firms will list their location. That's kind of clear. A lot of times it's not clear, and I have to call and find out, hey, per your website, this is offered online, virtually, hybrid. I need to know how this individual attended. If they tell me this was in person, no harm, no foul. If we can't make sense of it and we're not getting any information from that training center, then we're going to come back to the sponsor and we're going to notify the sponsor, hey, you need to follow up with this member and tell them we need to see the actual training flyer, right? Because that flyer is going to tell us the topic, the location, the time, even maybe your email confirmation where you've done an online registration will give us that information too. So if you think about it, to avoid the back and forth, if you are attending any training like that, please keep a copy of that flyer, and when you supply that certificate to the sponsor, give them a copy of that flyer as well, because they can just attach that together and scan that as one document and load it into the portal. Takes away all the guesswork for us, for them, and for you as well to know if you're going to get credit. This remains the same. Deadline to submit the certificates is June 30th. So this year, this current fiscal year will be June 30th, 2024. There are absolutely no exceptions to that deadline, okay? All I have done since June 30th, every day, is have to explain there are no exceptions to the deadline. And whether that be employers reaching out directly to me, or your assigned employer service specialist reaching out, the assigned safety staff to your council, or the sponsor directly, there's absolutely no exceptions to the deadline. So that'll lead me into the next slide, and that's plan early. You know, set a game plan up early, a strategy to make sure you're going to obtain those credits. Some key things to remember. I think, I keep saying that, but you guys, I live and breathe these external training credits, and there's a lot. So let me just refer to my notes because I don't want to forget this. Key thing, maximum 1 training credit per event no matter what, okay? So that includes Ohio Safety Congress. How many people have attended Safety Congress before? Okay. As you know, we have a large Congress. We offer multiple sessions over a 3-day period. So even if you were to attend Safety Congress for 2 days, you did 3 sessions the first day, you took 3 sessions the next day for a total of 6 sessions, you're still only going to get 1 credit, okay? It's 1 external training credit per event. Same is true if you and another staff member went to the event and maybe they went this way, you went that way, you all took different sessions, doesn't matter. It's 1 maximum of 1 credit no matter what. So please remember that, because again, I would see multiple certificates for different staff members, but for the exact same training, the exact same location, the exact same day, essentially the same training event. Online virtual training does not qualify outside of BWC's virtual training class. No, please remember that. Qualify. What qualifies, what doesn't, we've already covered that. okay? And then the last one, on-site training, I've covered that. Again, no on-site training is going to qualify. And I'll tell you, just a story. A lot of times I'll see the documentation that's being submitted when we get a certificate and I have questions. Well, some members will supply the sponsor with the invoice, and the invoice will list the employer's location as the training site. You know, and I have to pay attention to all those little key details because not everyone prints their certificates in the same way and gives the same information, even their invoices. So it's kind of obvious sometimes, but it's not. But just keep that in mind. Okay, so enough of that. I've done beat that in your head. You all are fully aware of what qualifies, what doesn't for external training credit. So this does lead me to the slide again. Plan early. These are best practice for you as a member. Plan early. Things come up all the time. Most of you know, as employers, people are getting injured, and you're like, "How? I just literally talked to you 5 seconds ago." Things are going to come up, and there's going to be a meeting or some point that you can't attend the meeting. So plan early. In addition, make sure the appropriate staff is attending that particular meeting. I'm sure you've all heard this before. And some of you might routinely come to the meetings every month, but when you're review your monthly notices and your schedule that you receive from your safety council, because this month's topic might suit best for you, but next month's topic may be for the human resource director, and then the following could be for the safety director. So, you know, just plan early, come up with a game plan and a strategy to ensure that you have a representative in attendance at each of the meetings to get your credit. This next one, consider inviting a colleague to accompany you. And I'm not even just going to leave that at colleague, but maybe you know other employers who are not members of Safety Council, but you know based on their industry of pursuit and the work they do that this next month's meeting topic just would speak directly to them and probably be so beneficial for them to come. Please invite. Have them come, sign in as a guest. And I may be optimistic, but I'm almost certain once they come and they get to sit next to you all and network with you all, they're going to want to sign up and become a member. And, you know, my take on this is there's never going to be too many people out in the world who are safety minded, safety aware, has that safety education. You know, it's a win-win for everyone. So I would just encourage you all to think about that and consider bringing a guest, a friend, or inviting a different colleague. Arrive on time, obviously, you want to arrive on time, but that asterisk next to sign in, whew, sign in, and one more time, sign in every time you arrive to a meeting. I'm sure that's been you guys have been hit over the head a million times with that. Again, I'm going to tell you that again because no signature, no credit. That's another, there are no exceptions. We've had a number of times where the sponsor reached out, hey, you know, John Smith with company ABC, he was here, we had a whole conversation, I know he was here. Matter of fact, he did this, he did that, he helped me clean up the chairs, clean up the room. No signature, no credit, okay? And it's not to say we don't trust the sponsor, we don't believe the sponsor, we don't take their word. Absolutely, that is not. But keep in mind, we have an internal audit department and we have policies and guidelines we have to follow. We have checks and balances that we have to follow. And internal audit is not friendly.
Government and it's money.
Well, and you know, and this is internal audit, right? This is our internal audit department. They take it very seriously, understandably. Makes total sense. And no one individual or no one department program manager wants to be dinged by our internal audit. So, you know, if anything you leave with today, I probably said that a few times, sorry. Please sign in. And then outside of that, be engaged, have fun. This is to your benefit. Who said training and education has to be boring? I mean, we all been in the same training classes over and over, annual, like this again. No one updated the slide. No one, you've heard it 10 times over. That's not the case here at Safety Council. There's something new, the new topic, a new speaker every month. So please show up, be engaged, and have fun. Okay, so enough of that. Now to the good news. Does everyone in here know that they've was eligible for the rebate? Who's not brand new? Do you know? Most of it. Good job. You all should pat yourself on the back. Very, very good. So what's the next plan for the rebate? Obviously, as explained, anyone with 10 or more meeting credits by June 30th, 2023, they're going to be eligible to receive that rebate. We'll extract that data from our new portal, which will spit it out to us immediately. I mean, it literally takes out any of the guesswork. It's based on what your sponsor is putting in for attendance each month, and it's going to tell us who is and who isn't rebate eligible. Those who are, we're going to forward that over to our rating department, who will do a final check and balance. Although we have our own guidelines for the Safety Council program, BWC as a whole has a guideline for all of their programs. You have to be current on all your payments. You can't have an excess of lapse of more than 40 days in the prior 12-month rolling period. And then you must file a timely true-up report. That last one also is why rebate checks typically don't go in the mail until late September, early October. We have to give you time to file that report, which July 15th, I believe? Yes. August. There you go. See, took it right out of my mouth. And I did it for 8 years. Look at me. 1 year away and you lose it all. But outside of that, then we give you a 15-day grace period. Well, outside of that grace period, if there's any other issues, there's the one-time forgiveness request. Okay, so all of that takes time, and we have to get outside of all of those grace periods before we can then officially say, this is your rebate, here's what you're getting. Now, this question came up not too often, but I had some sponsors and even employers reach out to me directly. Well, who do I get my rebate from? Is that a check from the sponsor? You know, how's that work? Is that mailed? Is that direct deposit? We definitely are not direct depositing in anyone's account. We have so many employers across the board. There'd be no way to manage that. What happens? Once we get the rebate and we post that, we post it to your account as a credit. If you have no balance at the time, meaning there's a zero balance the day we post that, the system's going to realize, well, there's nothing to apply this credit to. We're going to automatically issue that out as a refund check in the mail. If there is a balance, we'll absorb the portion of that balance, and whatever's left over, we'll refund. If you have a balance and the credit will be absorbed by that entire balance, we'll do just that as well. So you might want to just log in online and make sure you look at your balance to see, did I recently send an installment payment in? Because this happens a lot. You get your installment, it's due, you pay it, in the same midst of that coming in, we've posted the credit. We've absorbed your entire credit on that balance, but once your premium installment payment hits, it's just going right back out to you. So kind of to avoid that, my suggestion would be to maybe check that before you're making payments around that time frame. This is the promotional video that I promised I would share with you all. This again is to promote Safety Council. Safety education, safety awareness. And if you notice here, I took a thumbnail, a snippet, you'd say, from the video directly. And I picked that particularly because how wonderful is it to be able to come home safely each and every day, right? You never know what's going to happen, and I just think that speaks volumes of the work and what we do here at the Bureau as far as safety is concerned. Also, if anyone would like to see this video, it is available on our website and the YouTube website, and you would just want to search BWC Safety Council.
Imagine a workplace where accidents never happen. Across Ohio, local safety councils host monthly meetings for those responsible for workplace safety. A place to learn from subject matter experts, discuss best practices, and share resources. A place to equip yourself with continuous learning, gain awareness, and share prevention strategies to make your workplace safer. You'll engage with others you know, friends, neighbors, maybe even a relative or two. Most workplace accidents are avoidable. Join a safety council today and take advantage of the vast resources and cost savings that await. Increased productivity, more affordable insurance, and decreased injuries to valuable employees. Because every family deserves to see their loved ones return home from work, safe and sound. For more information about becoming a member of the Safety Council closest to you, visit info.bwc.ohio.gov/safety-councils.
So if any of you have any questions, stop by, see me, get a copy of my business card, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions. And I thank you all for your time.